Good morning, everyone. So before I start my presentation, I must tell you, I'm going to spend a little time telling you how to craft a long-lasting and successful career. But fundamentally, before that, what you need is lots and lots of energy, lots of drive, and a whole lot of passion. So let's try again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Wow, that's better. You're already on the path of creating a great career. So I'm going to make some, and I think okay. So I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes telling you what I think is really some of the core ingredients of having a great career. By no means are they the only ingredients. I mean, there's so much more to a career than I can fit in the next 15 minutes. But I think there are these three pillars which, through my career journey and through the learnings I've had, I found immensely useful and helpful as my career progressed in the organization. So let's begin with what are the stages of career. Simple, right? Exploration. That's when you're actually starting off your career. Show of hands, how many are you in the exploration stage here? Okay, a few. Anyone in the establishment stage, which is about 5 to 9 years of experience, looking for a new career opportunity? Okay. I'm trying to look through these slides, so pardon me. So different stages of career usually have different priorities and different things you need to pick up and different learnings which you need to pick up across your journey. So exploration is when you are just about getting into the workforce, trying to get a sense of what you really like, what you don't like, so you explore multiple things. And then you establish yourself maybe at about 5 to 9 to 10 years of experience when you really know what you're passionate about, what you need to drive in your career. And then, of course, your mid and late career where you diversify, you deepen your experience, and spend the rest of your career journey continuing to learn. So when you think, each of you in the room, when you think about a successful career, what do you think about? When would you say that you have made it in life, or someone you look at has made it in life from a career perspective? How many of you think that a lot of money drives that? That's a trick question. So, I'm seeing only 2 hands, but trust me, most of the people move jobs because of compensation. So there must be some truth in that, right? So money does drive some of the career decisions. How many of you think power and authority makes for a successful career? Okay, a few more hands. And finally, how many of you think vertical climbing of ladder, climbing the corporate ladder from one job to another makes for a good career? All of these. Yes, so someone said all of these. But I really believe that what makes a career is really just experiences and learning. How much of experience and how much of learning have you gathered across your career journey? And all this actually is an outcome of what you end up doing through your experiences and learning. So more often than not, what we forget in the pursuit of money, in the pursuit of title, which is a big deal, right, especially in India, and in the pursuit of getting that corner office in the corporate world, we forget that we want to make sure that the kind of role, the kind of opportunity, and the kind of learning we're getting is really, really different from what we've ever done in our lives. And that segues me nicely to my first pillar. Who's heard of the T model? So, okay, a couple of you. It's very simple. It's actually started by an entrepreneur, Max Marmer, who said T model is how you look at a career. You have diversity of experiences and you have depth in 1 or 2 or 3 functional or technical areas, right? That's how you look at balancing your career across your 40 years of journey. So more often than not, I have seen people, even coming out of college, telling me, look, this is what I loved in college, this is a subject I learned, and I'm going to want to do this only. And really, while it's great that you know what you want out of college, I can assure you you don't. Because you've not seen what kind of work, what kind of roles, and what kind of opportunities which are out there. And you need to explore, you need to diversify. Going back to my own experiences, within HR, when I started off my career, I did pretty much everything. I did, hiring, I did talent management, I did talent development, I did leadership hiring, I did generalist, what we call the generalist roles, I did compensation and benefits, and this across various industries. Just for me, and I have the advantage of going across various industries because of the function I'm in. Some of you may not have that luxury, but it's very, very important for you to make sure that you don't close your minds to various roles, even if you think at the outset that you don't like something, or you will not want to do it, or you probably are not good at it. It's very important that you diversify, and at some stage in your career, it's important that you're also known as an expert in one or two areas. So in my case, in HR, I really found passion in talent development and talent management and diversity and inclusion, and these are areas I really, really go deep in and spend a lot of time driving organizational changes in these areas. And I know I'm really passionate about it. I know I can add value and I'm really interested. But I also know that to be a good HR leader, I need to know all other areas of HR in order to be successful. So my number one message to all you job aspirants or career aspirants is please do not close your minds to anything. Take a chance, take a dive into something you have never done before. Go ahead and do it, see if you can do it. When we float jobs, for example, in our organizations and across all the organizations I've seen, it, not just Collins, what I typically see is when I float a job, I have these line of men who are standing outside my office saying, this job is just the right fit for me. And when I dig deeper, I probably find they're a 50% fit, they're a 60% fit, but they're confident enough to say that they fit it wholeheartedly and they can do it. But I have a very short queue of women who are saying the same thing unless they consider themselves 100% fit for that job. Why are we always underselling, or why are we always undermining the values, the skills, the competence we've got? And there is always some gaps. There are always people who will have to learn, and that's what you do in every new role. But you've got to have the confidence to come up and say, I can do this. I have like 60%, I'm 60% there, and I just need that 40% boost. The next pillar, and I cannot stress enough how important this is. People may say that, my work can speak for itself, I do a great job and I'll be noticed, but in large corporations, I can tell you that is not true. Yes, work speaks for itself, but you also need to have all those ingredients, and you also need to make sure that you build a personal brand in the organization in order to be noticed and in order to be picked. So what constitutes personal brand? These are all the 5 points which constitute a personal brand. Your values which you never compromise. There are certain things which are fundamental and core to you. You make sure that you demonstrate that and believe in them wholeheartedly all through your career. Competence goes without saying, right? Your skills, competence, knowledge. Authentic personality, and I don't just say personality. I say authentic because you can put on a show for some time, but everyone can see through it. You've got to bring your whole authentic self to the work. You can't just pretend to be a person you're not. So make sure that people understand you fully and understand you well. There is no need to hide and be all confident demeanor all the time. You have your vulnerabilities. There's no shame in showing that. There are certain times in your career you will feel vulnerable. It's okay. And there are certain times you are absolutely confident. Your promise, the commitment you bring to the table from your role and work perspective. And finally, your image. And people may say it's not important. What does image form, what is image formed of? Image is formed of the way you look, the way you groom yourself, the confidence you demonstrate. Have you heard of the saying, you will not get a second chance at making a first impression. True, right? You make a first impression. Do you know how many seconds it takes for a person to judge you or make an impression of you? 10 seconds. 3 seconds. Okay, the sweet spot is 7 seconds. Okay, you were very close. 7 seconds is what it takes for a person on the other side of the table to judge you or to make an impression. So when you walk into the room, what are they judging you on? How are you groomed? How confident are you? How confidently are you shaking my hand? You know, you sit down and, you know, you have a body language. That's the first impression you make. And the next 30 minutes is all a blur, I can tell you, through the interview process, okay? So if the first 7 seconds you've really made a poor impression on the interviewer or someone you're talking to, that person will just switch off after some time. So make sure that all of that together, you continue to push and build your personal branding and your personal image. And finally, networking. Someone told me networking is about how many people you know. So, you know, I see some LinkedIn posts where people say, respond to this post of mine and I will add you as a connect, or, you know, let's see how many LinkedIn connections I have and how many people like me on Facebook. That is absolutely rubbish. It's not your network. It is a useless network to have. Just connecting with people on social media is not a network. Network is made up of people or colleagues or mentors or people around you in your life, in your personal as well as your professional life, who value you, who can vouch for you, who will hire you if the time comes, who will sponsor your career in the organization because they know you, they believe in you, and they know what value you bring to the table. And for that, you cannot just go say hi, hello to everyone and say you built a really nice network. You have to build, invest time and effort to build that network. So there are 5 questions you must ask yourself in your organizations when you are building a network. When you're in a role and doing a certain job, how many of you put your hands up and say, I'll do something different, I'll take organization-wide initiatives, I'll take stretch assignments, this will give me an exposure to someone else in the organization? How many of you ask questions, challenge the status quo, not settle for someone telling you this is the way we've done it for 25 years and this is the best way it's worked, and you go back meekly to your role and say, yeah, I don't know enough to, you know, comment on that or challenge that? How many of you make sure that when you're in a role, you're looking to leave a legacy behind and not just doing a role for the sake of doing a role? When you leave a role and go, they must say, look, you know, what Sanjukta left in that role is this, and we, you know, that was just amazing. And of course, new people will come and build their own legacy and, you know, work on your role and do it differently and do it better probably. But you've got to leave a legacy when you are in a role, and make sure that you don't leave and jump across roles without doing that. Keep connected. So you have built a network, you have people who vouch for you, but if you don't invest in that relationship over time, if you don't keep connected with that person, if you don't invest time and effort in continuing to build that relationship, just like a marriage, right? You will not have that network for long. You know, people move on, people build more networks, people get, you know, out of sight, out of mind, people forget what you've done 10 years back. Keep invested in that relationship. And finally, you have to always have an elevator pitch. How many of you know what an elevator pitch is? I had tentative hands in the front. Okay. Can someone tell me what an elevator pitch is? Sure.
Elevator pitch is, let's say you are on an elevator with someone, you have 30 seconds. How can you tell yourself what you are in those 30 seconds?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when senior leaders get into the elevator and, you know, a lot of other people get into the elevator, invariably what I see is everyone's looking at their phone and, you know, avoiding eye contact. Oh my God, what am I going to speak to this? The chairman of the company is in the lift with me and I don't know what to say to him. The 10, 20, 30 seconds it takes for you to get that FaceTime between a senior leader and you have got to have an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is not talking about the weather and talking about how Bangalore traffic is really affecting your morale and your commute time to the organization and how I need work-life balance, but it's about the value you bring to this organization, any challenging questions you have for the individual to really make an impression in the mind of that senior leader. The mind space of senior leaders is very limited, right? They look at various things, they're busy, they have 20,000 things to think about. If you make an impact, I can assure you, and I've had live examples of this happening, your career goes places just because you made that 30-second impact on that senior leader's mind. He or she remembers it forever and says, you know, I met this smart, lady in the elevator. What does she do? Let's, bring her into this role. Let's try her out in a new project. And that's how careers get made. And you've got to be lucky to be in that situation. All of this is important to build sponsors and networks. And I know I'm getting dagger looks because I can see the red zeros. But I want to leave you finally with just these 4 thoughts. Career, please do not look at it as an option, right? More often than not, women say, okay, husbands anyway have to work. I will go in, figure out whether I like it or not, take a break, take it easy, then go back again. That's not a career, that's a job. If you want a career, be serious about it. Of course, you've got to take breaks sometimes. Your personal priorities take precedence, but you've got to be conscious and focused in what you want to achieve, even through that break. Be confident of yourself and your abilities. I've already spoken about that. Your personal board of directors, which is nothing but your network, people who are sponsors, who are mentors, who can vouch for you, who can help you in your career. And finally, doing it all. I've heard of women especially, and I know we spoke about guilt and all of that in the previous session, women especially want to be a super mom, super daughter-in-law, super wife, super daughter, super sister, whatever roles you play in the organization, and then a super woman in the organization itself, and at the end of it, all you are is just super tired. And what you need to do is balance it all. It's okay to sometimes not be perfect in one of your roles. It's okay. I have a 3-year-old son myself, and I know how conflicted everyone feels about, I have this career, I have to travel, I have to leave my son behind and all of that. But it's okay to feel guilty, it's okay to feel pressured, and it's okay to be not perfect. So I just want to leave all of you with all of us have a lot of talent. Just make sure you are confident, you push your career through, and you make a determined choice in what you want to do in life, both from personal priorities as well as your professional priorities. Thank you.